Time to highlight one of our community leaders here on 7 News at noon. Today, that is Prince George's County State's Attorney Tara Jackson. Tara, thank you so much for being with us here on 7 News at noon. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
All right, so let's jump right in. I want to start with something that is on a lot of people's minds. That unfortunately is domestic violence. This is after this horrible case last week in Bowie, where officers say a mom was shot by the father of her kids in front of her kids. Just horrendous. We hear about these cases too frequently. Tara, can you speak to any initiatives in light of this case in particular? Anything else the county's doing to work on domestic violence?
Sure. And let me say first that violent crime is down in the county at this point in 2025 or 2026. We are much lower overall in terms of violent crime, to include homicides. But anytime we see a case like we saw this past week in Bowie, we're devastated. Devastated for the community, devastated certainly for the children and for the victim that's hanging on for her life right now.
Go ahead. Yeah, I was going to say, what can the county be doing in this case? I mean, you talked about overall crime being down, and a lot of counties have shared that. Fairfax, Montgomery, MPD as well. But one of the things that always seems to be up is domestic violence.
You're right. In terms of now, our domestic violence homicides are down.
Yeah.
We've had 2 intimate partner homicides this year in 2026 and 3 involving family members. But I mean, again, we are working as diligently as we can. And I'll say this in the state's attorney's office, number one, to make sure that we hold persons accountable who harm people that they're supposed to love. And secondly, what we've done is we have hired more victim witness coordinators and advocates, because we know that for domestic violence, it is so difficult for some of our victims to pursue these cases for a variety of reasons. And we know that oftentimes we need to hold their hand through the process. So we've hired 2 new victim witness coordinators, and we just sent 1 to the Family Justice Center just on this Monday to assist victims in finding resources as well as filing complaints when necessary.
Today is also the first day of school in the county. Very exciting, but we know that that comes with some nerves for parents, all of us around the counties. What are some strategies that you're using to make sure kids stay in school?
Well, let me say this first. I was at Suitland High School this morning at 8 a.m. I was there with one of our school board members, with the principal, Dr. Reeves, and the kids were excited. Some were nervous. I asked some, and they were, pretty nervous about the school year, but really, really happy to be with them as they walked into school this year. In terms of initiatives, we've got a truancy initiative that we are kicking off in the state's attorney's office, and we have partnered with 4 nonprofits in our county. The goal is to work with children that have been identified as being at risk for being chronically absent, to work with not only the children, but their parents. We want them to make it not only on the first day of school, but we want them to continue to go to school every day during the course of this year. And for us, it's a crime prevention strategy.
And lastly, what about the roads? I know that we see the buses that are rolling. People are going to have to get used to that after having the summer off, as it were. But what else can the county do to ensure that those buses and everyone is safe as more kids are back on the roads this semester?
Well, certainly you'll have to talk to the school system about the buses specifically, about the school board or the school board. But what I'll say to you is we need to be careful. We need to slow down. We know that we're seeing far too many accidents on our roadways. Prince George's County, unfortunately, has had the most fatalities, vehicular fatalities, this year than anywhere else in the state of Maryland. So slow down. Watch for kids walking to school. Watch for buses that are letting the children out of school. And parents, for you that have children that are just beginning to drive and they're driving to school, sit down with them and talk about the dangers of speed, the dangers of impaired driving, the dangers of having your phone right beside you when you're driving. Do whatever you can to make sure your children are safe.
Got to model the best practices, and hopefully the kids will follow. Tara Jackson, State's Attorney for Prince George's County, thanks so much for taking a few minutes here with us on 7 News at noon.
Thank you for having me.
Okay.